Hello, divine beings. Welcome to the second episode of Problematic, the podcast where we talk about controversial topics and we have even more controversial guests. Today we have a Melbourne psychic medium. Her name is Ala on here, and we met through Instagram. We connected through a lot of common ancestry and genealogy, and just both of us kind of do the same thing in general. So welcome, Ala. Want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself besides what I just said?
Hi, gorgeous. So my name is Ala, and I am Melbourne psychic medium, as you know. And I have had my gifts since I was a little girl, and I've been literally just embracing it as I've been getting older. And probably back in 2012, I really embraced it and started understanding it even more, and really working and helping people to understand a lot of their path, guidance, help with healing, and that's a lot of the stuff we'll be talking about today. And basically to deal with also to deal with trauma. I'm not a psychologist, but like there's a lot of trauma related to spirituality that we can deal with and we can heal. So I absolutely love what I do. I love what you do, and I think we need more of our tribe around. So supporting each other and bringing each other up in the world, and I love bringing others up. So yeah, it's all about that.
Definitely. So let's touch on the trauma piece, because both of us come from Jewish ancestry, and there's a lot of trauma from our ancestry, a lot of pogroms, and just a lot of, death in there, and just casting out and all of it. So like, because of epigenetics, we have a lot of trauma stored in our DNA.
100%. Yeah.
And because of that, I feel like right now there's just a lot of like pointing fingers and blaming and shaming of people who are of Jewish origin, even if they don't practice the religion or anything like that. So that's kind of how you and I connected, being kind of like reactivated, and some of us might feel more defensive. And it's like, how do people deal with that when they see perhaps racist things about their ethnicity, or anti-Semitic, or any kind of slur about their ethnicity? What can people do to not just slip into that defense? What can they do to like arm themselves to, I guess, like protect themselves from that energy and not just get overreactive?
Well, I think that's the first word you said was reactive. I think that's the first thing, not to allow our emotions to take over us. Whenever, and it's interesting you brought that word up, because when we react based on emotions, it's always the wrong reaction. And that's number one. So if you're getting emotional about something, walk away. And I know it sounds like you're almost not dealing with it, but it's not about that. First, you have to preserve yourself. That's number one. It's funny, we're talking about this, and there's three things I don't talk about, but I'm talking about this because it is a huge issue. But I don't talk about like COVID vaccinations, religion, or politics, because that's usually what brings world non-peace. If you know what I mean. It's war when you talk about those three things,
right?
But I think the most important thing really, as I was saying, is like not being able to allow your emotions to take over you, because coming from the person who's pointing the fingers, if you're doing that, then what are you actually, what's the trauma behind it? Why are you doing that? And I think that's something that needs to be asked. Get down to the core root of why you're blaming a certain group.
Right.
What is it? Right. And from the person who's being blamed, also reactive measures is also not the right way. So also being able to not react on emotion, and also try to understand what is going on here. Do I really want to use my energy, or do I want to preserve my energy?
Exactly.
That's just where I come from. And that's, I think, the first part of healing for both groups, for both people, from both sides. But no one should be pointing fingers at anyone. Like, hello, we're trying to all bring each other up here. We're trying to make a better world for us, for our children, for our future kids, grandkids, whatever. I mean, this is I think this is a really big part why we turn to spirituality as well. We're always looking for more. And I find it hard that you can hate and be spiritual at the same time, to be honest.
I agree. I think what it is people don't know the why of what's going on, and that's where this comes in the first place. It's like, well, let's blame and shame this group. Let's just scapegoat them, because maybe I don't know anybody who's Jewish, or I don't know anyone who's Black, or I don't know anyone who's Hispanic or Chinese or anything, and they have no frame of reference. So it's just like, this like invisible enemy. And if I can just project all of my feelings onto this invisible enemy, instead of trying to see like, how can I fix this problem? How can I be part of the solution instead of create a bigger problem?
Great. Yeah, exactly. And where has this been created? Like, are you a product of your childhood? Did something happen back there that you're, taking it out on a particular group, a particular minority now? Like, what is it? So, I mean, look, it takes a really big person to pause, who's been blaming a certain group their whole lives, and to actually go within and start looking inside. Where has this come from? Where did this start? So, look, big question is, how do you stop this? Can you really stop hate? Probably not, because that's what brings balance in the world. We have a little bit of everyone, as
Reality.
horrible as it sounds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Reality.
That's what it is. But that's why we have people like us who try to bring love and white light and balance, and really try to explain that, where is this hate coming from? Let's look further. Let's look deeper. What trauma have you gone through? What is it? Was it really somebody who was, as you said, Black, Hispanic, Jewish? Was it really that person that caused your anger? Is that why you have that anger today? Or was it something else? Was it something that happened in your family? Like, these are the things that you really need to look back on. I mean, look, we've all had some form of trauma. We've all grown up with some sort of trauma.
Yeah.
And we've all had something we've gone through.
Definitely.
But then it makes you the bigger person. Do we blame somebody, or do we look within and heal?
Yeah, I love that. It's so beautiful. So what would you tell to someone who, it doesn't matter what kind of minority they were, and they were perhaps part of like a group, and they were all invisible faces, could be like an online group, because there's so much of that right now.
So hard, yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, well, the reason why the financial system is suffering is because it's based on the Rothschilds, who are Jewish, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So it's like, what do we do as ethnic minorities? How do we respond to that kind of thing? How do we heal from
my first question would my first question would be like, really? Because I'd love to know how they came down to that. I mean, is it really every single, and okay, so we're talking about Jewish now. So is it really every single Jewish person that's going to be blamed?
Right.
Are we all involved? Because damn, I wish I had all that money, but no, I'm not involved. But do you know what I mean? Like,
I guess I don't know what to be realistic. Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, I guess I'm not. I wasn't welcome or something, because I have no idea what's going on.
I got kicked out of the group.
I know.
Out of that minority.
So,
you know what I mean? Like, I missed out. So, I would probably revert the question. I'd be like, why? Like, where is this coming from? I'm a person, the way I work is I like to understand. For me, it's very hard to just have a wishy-washy answer. Wishy-washy meaning like, oh, it's all their fault. It's because of them. It's they're at the top. It's all of those people's fault. That's it. Okay, that's a really wishy-washy surface answer. I want to know in depth, where did this come from? Why are you blaming them? Like, what is it? Give me intricate details and how you're connected to it. I need to understand.
Exactly.
There's a very good saying, not my circus, not my monkeys. So there is such a big gap between what happened there and who you are here. These people don't even know each other, but they're talking like they've mingled together and have business together, and they got screwed over.
Right. And in general, that's what a lot of people are doing right now with a lot of their life circumstances, and the ominous cabal, right? And we know there's something like that exists in the world. There are some very bad people who are in very high positions of authority. But when people start just saying, well, it's all their fault, I'm thinking, okay, well, first of all, you have money and you've decided to put your money in and invest it in certain companies by buying their products or buying their stocks or working for them. So where is your personal responsibility in this, right? Because we all have a collective responsibility. If we're saying that so-called evil people are running the world, then aren't we supporting them in some type of way? Like, how you're giving them more power than they actually have. So what can we do, Ala, is as light workers to help people who, definitely they understand things for how they are, and we love them for it, and they want to make the world a better place. How can we help them through these very dark times right now? Or they assume it's very dark times. I mean, I don't feel like it's dark the times. I feel like it's some great times we're living through.
Well, look, they're challenging times for some people. Look, I think the first thing is acknowledging it. Like, as light workers, we do need to acknowledge everybody, and everyone has their own journey, and everyone, we haven't walked in everyone's shoes to understand what they go through as well. And just like they haven't walked in ours to know what we've gone through, So I think acknowledgement is the first thing. And I think, look, as light workers, I think being heard is really important. Do you know what I mean? No matter where it's coming from, we do need to hear whether it's good or bad and what they have to say, because that's where understanding comes from. So we need to understand why they feel a certain way. And when you have that first point of allowing someone to be felt, sorry, let me start that again. When we allow someone to feel that they're being heard, we can then start the healing process. It's those who are not heard and those who sit there in their own thoughts because they're not being heard. So they've got all of this busyness happening in their head. They need to be heard. And as much as it's hard to hear somebody that we maybe don't resonate with in what they believe in, as light workers, that's part of the healing process. That's part of how we can help them heal, if that makes sense.
Yes. By validating them. It's called validation, right? Instead of invalidating somebody's experience.
Yeah.
So important.
That's right. We're validating. So we're giving them that. It doesn't mean we are agreeing with what they believe in, but, and that's really important to highlight, but we are validating that you are being heard. I have heard you, but let's get down to the core of the issue. Like, let's go back. And I think that's really important. And intuitively, I keep picking up that these people have a lot of pain. They come from pain. And when you have pain that's unhealed, correct, they start blaming those who are quite high up in the world and who do have that power. And look, and I'm not saying those people up there are good or bad. I'm not here to judge anyone.
Oh, no.
That's not my, like I said, not my circus, not my monkey. Yes. So I'm not doing that. But it's a process. And as a healer, that's where I would go. And that's how I would first validate what they're feeling, as in, like, I've heard you. I'm validating that I've heard you. I may not agree with it, but let's get down to the core issue. Like, why are you feeling this way? Where has this started? Your product of your upbringing. Has there been some sort of trauma in your life? They could have lost a lot of money along the way, and their first go-to was like, I'm going to blame them. Those people up there. It's all their fault that this has happened.
Right.
But the reality is, could be like they've just made some really poor choices in life.
It's true.
Sometimes we have to admit our wrongdoings. And if you can't see first within you what you've done and admit that, don't go blaming everyone else around you. And that goes for everything in life. You have to first work with you before you can go and blame anyone else, because you might realize you might not even need to go to blame anyone else once you realize where you went wrong. Yeah. And that's all part of our journey. That's growth. That's learning. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Admitting that you've gone through that. And okay, I made a few mistakes, but I've learned from them and I won't do them again.
Yes, absolutely.
That makes you the bigger person.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely true, Ala. Like, what I've noticed between people who are healing versus very unhealed people who really can't heal is that the people who are healing, because no one's ever completely healed, so that's why I say healing. It's in the active.
Yeah. 100%. We're never healed completely.
The active tense. That they self-reflect, number one, and they do take personal responsibility for their part in things. So, like, okay, I could see how I attracted to them in my life. I see maybe why, like, my wounding, my inner child needed that or whatever. And I'm not going to do it again because I'm taking personal responsibility and looking, taking that reflection and taking stock of what I did versus what I didn't do and all that. And then the people who are not healed and can't seem to really get too far in their healing journey, it's because they refuse to take personal responsibility. They refuse to see their own patterns. Where, okay, like, well, why are your relationships constantly failing? It can't be all these people. You're the common factor here, right? So we
100%. Yeah.
We all.
And also the other thing is, with these people who are not willing to heal or start their healing journey, you'll notice, especially in a relationship, it's really easy to see. Obviously, if they're single, it's a bit hard because they're not reflecting upon anyone. But when you're in a relationship, you'll notice if you're with somebody who's not healed, and you're on that healing journey, you'll notice you're growing, and you're elevating, and this person is stuck. And you constantly feel this heaviness, like you're carrying them because they're so stuck in their thoughts. They're so stuck in what they believe in. They can't see past it. And they're so comfortable being in such an uncomfortable place that they've chosen, you know what? I'd rather stick with the devil I know than the devil I don't. because, you know, growth sounds scary to me. Healing sounds scary. I'm going to stay here and I like being in this place. And therefore you notice that in this relationship, you're growing and healing and you're just carrying this person. And they're usually those relationships that don't last because it becomes very hard for a person who's healing, carrying somebody who's just not willing to be healed and have no growth. And it's very hard to have a relationship where there's no growth.
Right.
You know, you've got to grow together. Not one person grows and the other one stays stuck. And that's where you notice, like, we're just not seeing eye to eye anymore. What happened? Where would this change? So healing is so important. And inner reflection is so important. And really understanding that everything we've been through in our journey has happened all for a reason.
Yes.
Nothing's happened for no reason. And that's what's really important. So having a blame game, that's easy. We can go and blame anyone. That's the easy way out. It's like, you know what? I don't want to hear what's in here. I don't even want to look what's in here. It's your fault, and your fault. This world is crashing all because of all of you. Okay, great. But did those people actually know who you were? Did they actually target you?
They don't care.
Did they say, Sarah, I'm targeting you?
It's just another day for them. It's just another, they're not thinking about them. It's like, stop.
That's right.
And you know, attention, what is it? Energy flows where attention goes, right? So 100%. You're going to be blocked off if you're giving your energy to somebody who you're blaming, who doesn't care about you anymore. I mean, they're done with you if you knew them in person. And if there's some, you know, Supreme Court judge to a celebrity, if all that kind of stuff, they don't care. So you're just blocking yourself off from your own happiness. And
let it go and let it flow and allow the universe to do its magic. That's what I'd say.
Exactly.
So, you know, you've got to just let it go and you've got to just work on yourself. Like, stop blaming, look inside. And, you know, it does get very tiring listening to people blame minority groups. It is very tiring. And I really try not to let it affect me. And look, I really am great at pushing it out there and say, look, I don't want to deal with that because I don't want to use my energy on people who are in a lower dense energy and don't want to be healed.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that, especially somebody like us, light workers. It's very hard for us to go backwards with our energy. Like, we try to always keep ourselves uplifted and light. And when you've got someone like that, it's almost like we have to reverse and actually go down to that level. And it's a very dark, dense, very dense energy. And it's very hard to be down there because I feel after that, if I have to deal with someone like that, it takes me a long time to lift myself up again. I have to clear that energy off of me. I don't know if that's what you're like, but it's very hard.
I agree. That's one of the reasons why, you know, most of my listeners, sorry, my hair is crazy right now. I know what's going on. I'm like,
I love your hair.
Anyway,
hello.
I know we have the same hair. It's fine. Anyways, but I digress. But, you know, most of my viewers know that I was a high school teacher for over a decade. And one of the reasons why I left is because, you know, I would have to get on their level on a daily basis so I can de-escalate them, because I taught kids that have emotional disturbances. So a lot of times they grew up in chaotic homes. They saw incredibly traumatizing situations that, you know, I don't even know how we would get through these situations, much less a child. So every day I had to, you know, do that multiple times a day, multiple crisis moments. I said, you know what, like, this is draining me to the point where I have nothing left for myself. I can't even get back to my own child. So I'm leaving this situation. And I do miss the kids. Like, sometimes I think about, you know, like, oh, what if I like adopted like a older kid or something like that, gave them a home. I think about that sometimes, but just like you said, like,
that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But like, getting on that level with multiple people on a daily basis, it is very draining.
It's
so
hard.
I know what you're talking about.
And also that was you constantly giving. So there's no energy exchange there either, which means you're depleted and you'd have to go find your energy source elsewhere. And it's very hard. Like, I mean, you can go to the source, but it's very hard to continuously do that. As soon as you get a refill, you're back out draining it out again. And it's like, I'm exhausted to the point where you just want to cry and you don't even know why you're crying because you're so tired. So look, it's very hard being in a world where, look, and I suppose that's what makes our world up, that we are all so different. But it does make it very difficult when people don't want to see eye to eye or have an understanding. Some people are so stuck. And like I said, stuck comes from comfort.
Yes.
It's better to be stuck in a place where you are very comfortable than being in a place that's great, but it's uncomfortable because it's new.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like your usual place to be in.
Yeah. Another thing I've realized too is some people who are in that stuck place, once they start to, elevate and they start to ascend out of that stuck place, and maybe the relationship is getting better, their abundance starts
Mm,
coming in, they're like, oh shit, the shoe's gonna drop. So what do? They self-sabotage. So they devolve and they descend
yep,
back into that darker
yep,
energy because they know what it is. It's safe and it's predictable. Even if
correct.
Right. Even if to the observer it looks shitty and like, why would you do that to yourself? Like everything was
Yeah,
going well. They're like, well, this is what I know. So I'm just gonna go
yeah.
here.
It's like if you were to like compare like something like an alcoholic, they
Mhm.
can be really clean and they feel great and everything's working and everything's fantastic. And as soon as something isn't going their way, they could turn to that and they
Yeah.
go back into that place of comfort. It's like, and you're right, that's familiar to them. I know how to deal with that place. It's very hard to deal with anything new in this light place because I'm not used to being here. This is new,
Mhm.
for them. So absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, have you dealt with anyone, and we're not going to name names, we're not doing that in this show, but I'm
Not
just
doing the name game.
Yeah, we're not doing the name game, the blame game, or the name game, but just out of curiosity, because I've had to deal with just a little of this, but not too
Mm,
much. But there was a
mm,
couple like, ooh, like that's how you feel. Okay. So have you had to deal with anybody in this spiritual community that was like, oh, you're Jewish, or they said something to you that might have been anti-Semitic and they didn't know you were Jewish? Like, and if so, like, how did you handle that situation? Did you say something? Did you just kind of like move on? What did you do?
mm. I had a couple of situations. There was one, again, not naming anyone, anything. I don't even really want to go into the situation because it might actually exploit this person. So I don't even want to do that.
Okay.
But yes, there was where somebody agreed with something that was said in the media,
Hmm.
and was actually encouraging that behavior and
Ooh,
agreeing with it. And I quickly shut that down by saying, really, is that how you feel? Because I am, you
yeah.
know, I'm Jewish. So is that really how you feel? Like, is that how you'd feel about everybody? I mean, I wouldn't want people to say, oh, you're Jewish,
Mhm.
and then my name is Allah, and then I'm Melbourne Psychic
Yeah.
Medium.
That's not how it
I don't
is.
want it to be in that order.
No.
That's not how it is. Because when I meet people, I don't meet them by religion. I don't meet them by
No.
their background. I purely meet them by their soul. I
Yes.
don't even look at a person's beauty on the outside. I look at your
Yeah.
beauty on the inside. So when I connect with somebody, I connect with their soul. And if their soul is beautiful, then I am all for it. Like I love you. Like your soul's gorgeous. Like it's all soul.
You
Do you know
too.
what I mean? Yeah, if you've got a beautiful soul. Like for me, it's all about soul connection. And when I feel there's a beautiful soul, I connect with it. I don't feel your soul is clean, as in, listen, I'm not judging jury here, but if I don't feel it resonates with me, yeah, it is that. It's literally I
Yeah.
can't resonate with you. Then we can't. I can't give you my energy. That's literally how it is now. But yeah, so that was one of the incidences. And look, and I've had there was an incident where somebody was promoting that they don't believe in the Holocaust, and that really, really irked me, like to the point where it was very hard. That was very hard, and that I unfortunately, not fortunately, unfortunately, I have to say, fortunately, had to cut that person off
Yeah.
because that completely that does not even align with me at all, and I can't give my energy to somebody like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. When it gets that
so
spiritual to the point where
yeah,
we're not even using logic and reason anymore, it's like,
yeah.
okay, like, so I don't know if your grandparents are Holocaust survivors, but mine are. I'm like, so what did they do?
Well,
They just like hallucinated for 5 years?
yeah, they took some drugs. Yeah, they took some
Yeah.
drugs, hang out together. That was it, and then went home.
The Nazis,
5 years.
right? Like they threw
Yeah, shot a few guns in there.
Yeah, that's what was going on there. I know, like I'm just, yeah,
It
come
was
on.
like a rave. It was a bit of a
Yeah,
party rave. That's all for
yeah.
5 years. Like,
It's a party train. That's what they do. I mean, come on, guys, like for real. Like, how can
yeah,
especially when there's like survivors. There's still survivors. There's a few
yeah. There are
left.
still survivors. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're dwindling, but it's very
yeah.
sad. Very sad to see that generation go. They're one of the most.
Look, absolutely, absolutely. It's very sad. But just to get back to your question, I think what's really important is I think some people need to be educated. And that's the reality of it. There's a lot in the media that's been said, and look, you can very easily believe what the media is saying, because the media will say whatever sells, just like sex sells, drama sells, everything sells, anything that will hype up people watching their show, they're going to say it. So really, I think it comes down to people being educated. And look, you can believe anything you want that's been said about any minority group. The reality is, unless you have a personal experience with them, that something has happened, like the whole group went against you and did something horrific to you, the whole group, different story. But if you had bad experience with one person, I don't think you should judge everybody else on that. Number one.
Absolutely.
I don't think you should listen to just what the news says. Number two, do your research, educate yourself, really look into it, and don't always trust what other people say. People have their opinions, and you can listen to what one person says, but that doesn't mean you need to take that word and make it your belief. Research for yourself, educate. That's probably the biggest thing I can tell people. I can't force people to believe in the Holocaust. I can't force people to not be anti-Semitic.
We can't.
And that's not my job. That's not my job. And that's why I always say I don't like talking about religion, politics, and because I don't want, and COVID vaccinations, because I don't like putting my beliefs onto people. I'm open to hearing what people say, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important everyone educates themselves and believes what they believe because they've educated themselves, not because of something they've heard or something they read in the paper or saw on the news. Educate, open up history, read history, go back to where it started. Don't listen to conspiracy theories. This is what's important. Like, all of this is all conspiracy theories to me are just gossip. It's just somebody who started some gossip, and that's all it is. It's just, and it's escalated, and it puts a lot of fear into people. So, I think we're all individuals, and part of our healing process is really educating ourselves. Just like you can't, force anyone to be spiritual. It's all part of their journey. Same in this area. So.
Yeah, and ask yourself. I love all that. I love that, Ala. And also ask yourself, where is this information coming from? Is it coming from the frequency of love? Is that why it's being shared?
Right.
Love is awareness, right?
Yeah.
Sharing is caring, all that. Or is it coming from
100%.
fear and hatred, and trying to create more division? So ask yourself, where is this coming from? What is the intention of the speaker? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, you said something really important. I think it comes in the order of fear first. And when someone's really scared, they start hating. And then hatred is manifested out of that. Because when you can't get over your fears, you start being hateful. You start being a hater because you are scared of something. You're feared of something. Do you know what I mean? So I think those two go really hand in hand. And if you don't have the fear, then you're not going to hate. Do you know what I mean? Because you are above all that.
Yeah.
I don't like hating. There are people I don't resonate with. That's probably the word I would use, but I don't hate. Do you know what I mean? I don't resonate with people who love drama, who are uneducated in, certain matters, especially, and who just talk shit.
Yes, just keep, their lips are moving.
Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this?
Hey, girl, I do it all the time. I drop.
Sorry, I have such a potty mouth.
No, me
I'm really
too.
holding myself back.
No, don't. Uncensored. This is an uncensored show. This is why it's so problematic. I let my speak freely, use any F-bomb and MF or whatever.
Because I am really bad.
Yeah, no, I feel you. We might have pretty faces, but what comes out isn't always pretty.
That's right.
Anyways,
I think at the end of the day, everyone just needs to be really genuine with themselves, and you have to be able to live with yourself, and think about the hate you're spreading out there. And if you are spreading hate because you are unhealed, what are you teaching your kids? What are they going to teach theirs? And it becomes a family karma. And that family karma is very hard to break unless someone is strong enough to say, you know what, I don't believe in what my family's been saying this whole time, and I'm going to break that. So don't try and create something that your future great grandchildren are going to be suffering.
Yes.
Because you did something in your family.
Yeah.
And that's really important. So always think ahead what your actions today are doing for the future generations. And that's what's really important. It's so easy to say something. It takes 2 seconds to say something, but it could take a lifetime to actually repair it.
Oh.
So be very careful what you're putting out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah. There
mm,
was a quote that I heard the other day. It might have been yesterday, actually, that what you don't heal right now,
mm.
your children are going to have to deal with it. And if your
Correct.
children don't heal it, then your grandchildren are going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. And
And
that's
we don't
family karma.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
definitely, it's generational curses. That's the curse. You can curse,
Oh,
not some voodoo witch doctor, some lady with
no,
a black
you can
handle.
do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's you. It's not
You
that
can do it all
exotic.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
exotic. Anyways,
And I
any
think we just have to spread love out there. Sorry, I was just going to say we just have to spread love, healing, understanding, and being heard. And I think when you can be that person, you're definitely better than you're going to be the person you were yesterday. And spreading that also attracts those kind of people into your life. So
Yeah,
that's really important. And the
yeah,
more we can be around those people, we can slowly, slowly look. We'll never get rid of hate, and we're never going to get rid of
yeah,
all the hate towards minority groups and anti-Semitism. You're never going to get rid of it because it's just not possible. It's just not
no,
how the world
no.
works. But we can spread all this beautiful, beautiful love and healing within ourselves and to others around us. And if we can do that, then, we've got our tribe.
Yeah,
This is our tribe. We don't need to have them be the majority. We can turn into the majority, but it's
yes,
just about all coming together and really just loving each other because of our souls, not because of the religion we were born into, not because of the nationality we were given, not because of the color of our skin, but because of the soul, because our souls, they all look the same. They all look the
exactly,
same. And they
exactly.
don't have a religion attached to them either.
No,
We're
no,
a soul. So if we can love each other for who we are in here, then what does it matter how we're brought up and what religion we're given? I mean, let that be. That's very separate to who I am. But
exactly.
let that be. Don't go attacking people because of that. That's just doesn't even make sense.
100%. It's exactly what I was going to say, just a little differently.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. Especially during the age of Aquarius. Exactly. Why are we even like trying to like talk about other people's religion or races or their
Yeah.
socioeconomic status and trying to like group people and
Yeah.
separate them? This is not the age of separation. This is the age of unification. And just like you said
Yeah.
about, everyone's soul is, it doesn't have a race, it doesn't have an ethnicity, it doesn't
No.
have a religion. It is a soul. And what energy you choose to put into your soul and then put out into the world in this lifetime is your choice. And it's going to
Yeah.
carry
100%.
a karma with it. So the next lifetime, you're going to have to revisit this again. And who wants to
Oh,
same
you don't
nonsense?
want to do that. Trust me. Because it's such a waste of a lifetime to spend on this when there are so many other beautiful lessons to go through and so much more growth to go through. Why waste it on something that's really, really not important? Hate is so not important. We give more energy to hate than we give to love. And we don't need to do that because it would imagine taking all that energy that we had towards hate and the anger and put it towards growth, healing, and love. And our
Mm,
world would be so much more of a better place if we can do that. And we all turn to spirituality because we've been through something.
mhm.
So let's minus the hate and really just be there for each other and uplift each other. It doesn't matter where we've come from. It doesn't matter what our belief system is. So if we believe, if we're like Jewish, Christian, Catholic, Anglican, Orthodox, whatever it is, Muslim, whatever it is, congratulations. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's the family you brought up in. Beautiful. But that does not mean I'm going to judge you on the person you are.
Right.
And if we can separate that, it would be a much better world to live in.
I agree. I
But I mean,
agree.
that's wishful thinking.
No, I mean, it's not, because it's definitely possible. Like you said, there's always going to be hate. There's always going to be,
Yeah.
anti this, racist that. But if we can minimize it as much as possible by teaching
Yeah.
love. And before you go, I have a profound
Yeah.
question for you. I always like to ask a very profound
Oh
question.
God, am I going to be ready for this? Hold on. Okay.
Okay, okay. Get ready. So we talked about, avoiding hate and transmuting it. So how can people love? Give us 3 tips on how people can love each other and themselves from an authentic place.
Look, I think the first thing is separating all of that. Okay. First of all, separating yourself from, and just what I said regarding first tip, don't bring religion, politics, anything else to mask that person. So that's the first thing. So you have to separate that. You look at a person for who they are as a soul. So if I was to say, Sarah, I'm looking at you, I don't know that you're Jewish. I don't know that who your political beliefs are. I don't know any of that. I'm just looking at you, and you're this gorgeous soul that is spreading love. And I love that about you. And I'm not judging you on anything else. And that's number one. Number two, I think, would be working on yourself and, starting the healing process. And if you don't know how to do it, there are so many beautiful people who are spreading love out there. Join them. Go with who you resonate with, and that's it's all about searching and going where your soul is, telling you to go. You're not alone. That's another point. You're not alone in this world. So don't feel you need to be angry and hate and put it all out there. You're not alone. And as I mentioned before, educating yourself, it's really important. That is a huge thing. But beautiful people like us are here to share love, to help heal, to spread the word. And that's our journey. And that's why we were brought here.
Yes.
And so, I never want to stop doing that. I know you'll never want to stop doing that. And the more of us that come together and spread all of that to everyone else, 100%, a much better world to live in. So I want to stay in that world.
Me too.
And I think, walking away from drama, walking away from I don't think trying to take somebody on is the right thing to do. So if someone's coming at you, don't use your energy for that. No. Don't go fighting them. You're not going to change their mind. That's number one. So don't even go there. That just gets you all fired up. So walk away unless they're willing to be heard and help them get healed, and they want to know and understand. Different story. But if they're just coming to you with hate and they just want to attack you,
you want to win, they want to win, forget about it. It's not going to work.
Walk away. I would say walk away. It's not weakness, it's strength, walking away, because it takes a lot of strength to walk away from someone like that.
Indeed.
A lot. That's not weakness. So don't ever think you're being weak or you're not, standing up for yourself. That's not the case. That's you actually showing immense strength and showing that you're actually above that, and you're not willing to use your energy on somebody who will never, ever change until they are ready to change.
I agree.
You can't make someone change. Yeah.
Can't agree.
So I hope that was profound enough responses.
Oh, it was. It certainly was. I know this is going to help at least one person. And that is my goal. Every time I have these podcasts, which my only second episode, but even when I do a live.
And I'm so grateful.
Yes. Every time I do any kind of broadcast, I'm like, if this could help at least one person, if it could open their mind, if it could, in your case, help people from just stopping these arguments, especially the trolls online, this going back and forth when, it's not a discussion. It's more of I want to win. It's not even a debate. And that's going to save people a lot of energy, a lot of heartache, so they can focus on the real work in front of them, which is who loves them, their family, everything they can be grateful for, their dog, their cat, their job, their home. The rain when it rains outside. Have gratitude.
Shift your focus. Go there, shift it away from here. Go there. Go to a hyper. It feels different. One profound thing is, remember, that's dense energy. It feels lower. You feel low. And when you uplift and when you're speaking about love, it's a whole different frequency. It feels amazing. You feel lighter. So, it's all about shifting your focus. You can stay there and you're going to be dark and it's going to be low and nothing's going to work your way. Or you can uplift and you can just be grateful for all the amazingness around you. And it could be the most smallest thing to be grateful for. The fact that you opened your eyes this morning. Wow. Be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because there's someone out there who didn't,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
The smallest things we've just got to be grateful for. And that just changes your whole focus. So focus away from hate and shift it to love.
Perfect. Well, this was such a delightful conversation. I know I'm in a better mood. My vibes have risen.
Oh, I am too. I'm all uplifted now. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. And my day's ending. I know your day's starting in Australia. I know. So tell people where they can find you if they would like to connect with you for a reading.
You can find me on Instagram at Melbourne Psychic Medium, or my webpage at www.melbournepsychicmedium.com.au. Sarah, thank you so much. I loved this.
I did too.
You're absolutely gorgeous soul. I love what you're doing. I want you to continue spreading that beautiful energy of yours because you are helping so many people. And every time you pop up on my feed, I love your face and your energy and just what you're putting out there. You are such a joy and you are spreading so much love out there. And, I know that you are helping people and I love that. So
Thank
I am
you.
just, I feel honored to have crossed paths with you and met you and to do this. Thank you for inviting me to do your podcast.
Welcome. You're welcome. And I'm receiving all that. And I'm sending that back to you as well, because you're a lovely, lovely human being. And I'm so glad we're
Oh,
connected. And from ever in Australia, which is on my
100%.
list, I'm coming to visit
Yay.
you. I feel like we would have a nice little like mimosas, or I don't know. I see us like having mimosas,
Oh,
don't you?
oh, yes,
I totally.
please. Yes, please.
All right, girl. All right, guys.
All
Thanks
right.
for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.